defense and security measures, including the mobilization of reservists. Throughout the day, we've seen disturbing reports.
Macho, can you pull up Marco Rubio's tweets for me for the drinks with a nobody?
Civilian and military casualties.
He got a thread of different updates. I think it's really good. This dude Bosch pulled that up. I wonder what footage he's getting on his side.
Are carrying reports of an ongoing large-scale military buildup and on military columns moving towards Ukraine. The Russian Federation has also reportedly shut airspace to civilian aircraft near the border with Ukraine.
This is not going to start a world war, but
the United Nations cannot verify any of these reports. But if these developments were confirmed,
so he's on it through Twitter.
Situation. The Ukrainian authorities
Twitter might be the spot.
A new
I haven't used Twitter in a
cyber
minute.
Attack targeting several state and financial institutions.
Russia does keep those. What are they? The mobile.
Mr. President Zelensky earlier this evening called for continued diplomacy.
Mobile crematorium.
Separately, President Putin also spoke about his continued readiness to engage in dialogue. We encourage such efforts, even at this
Here we go. Thanks.
UN staff remain on the ground to provide humanitarian assistance to the people of Ukraine. We are committed to staying and delivering.
On wheels.
All parties
He is.
their safety and security. Respect for international humanitarian law and international human rights law is also paramount. We cannot predict exactly what will happen in the coming hours and days in Ukraine. What is clear is the unacceptably high cost in human suffering and destruction of men.
All right, here we go.
Oh God.
So this is Rubio's tweets here.
We must do everything in our power.
What's up, everyone?
That peace prevails. Thank you,
I'm on the podcast too, so I kind of forgot that I was on live here as well.
Сейчас предоставляю слово тем членам Совета, которые хотели бы выступить с заявлениями.
Yeah, right now, so Ukraine, Russia's in. They invaded Ukraine.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I'm trying to get all these updates I can, but Marco Rubio got a good update right now.
This is the fourth time the Council is meeting in Ukraine.
Full-scale comprehensive military assault.
Every time we
Airborne,
meet, reality on the ground
amphibious landings, missile strikes from air, ground, naval forces, electronic cyber attacks, large ground force to occupy large swath of territory.
We were told troops
long-range missiles launches from Russia are now underway, headed towards various pre-selected military sites throughout Ukraine.
They are invading
This is crazy.
Unprovoked with false pretexts.
I can't believe this is kind of actually happening.
And fabricated news.
All right? The
Every
day I'm
in the last 48 hours confirms
binge learning, is that a thing?
And to the
day I'm
world
binge learning about this.
that Russian wars have
Russian
nothing to do
airborne
with
forces are
security.
attempting to take control of the airport
Are not linked to NATO enlargement.
in,
That
how you say this,
issue
Kyiv,
is not a confrontation
so they can
between
fly
Russia
in
and
forces
the
to
West.
occupy the capital city.
This is a
Amphibious
confrontation
assault on the
between
key
Russia
port
and
city.
international law.
This
The
guy
charter that it deliberately
struck
has
quick.
chosen to ignore.
He did not
confrontation
play.
between
I gotta
a
log in.
hegemonistic vision and the rules-based world order. Dear colleagues, it's not about Russia's concern. It's about Russia's appetite. The Ukrainians are facing another
15
aggression.
plus missiles,
just because
airstrikes.
they dare to
MSNBC is
exist.
live right now.
Because they have
Oh,
chosen to
thanks.
be
Let me go to
independent.
MSNBC.
Because they have opted for democracy. Dear colleagues, this is a dark hour not only for Ukraine, but for the entire
guess I don't
international
know my
community
Twitter, right?
as we witness with trepidation the progression of a pure act of aggression carefully planned and cold-bloodedly being executed.
Yeah, I'm in.
We called and hoped for a back down of the Russian Federation from this senseless, destructive, and self-destructive action. We repeat the same call for
MSNBC
Russia
is
to
live, Macho. Can you pull that up?
to reverse its illegal decisions, to withdraw from this senseless madness, to de-escalate, not
Ukraine
to push towards
crisis
precipice.
already hitting Americans in their wallets.
Several
Higher gas
mechanisms are
prices,
in place,
inflation,
and
supply
various
chain.
proposals have been made, including by President
That's already
Zelensky,
happening, though.
whose calls remain unanswered.
Now it's getting,
Diplomacy is like hope.
now it's
It
gonna be
dies
this
lost.
now. Oh man!
But for it to work,
I
it
guess
must
it
be
wasn't
seized,
Biden.
not
It was
ignored, as the
just.
Secretary
It
General
was
just
this.
called for here.
It was this,
We
guys.
call on the fellow members of the Security Council to rally in
Explosions
support
in
of Ukraine's
Kyiv. I think we
sovereignty
should stop
and territorial.
a few minutes and stand united in time of peril. Somebody tweeted, bro. You gotta be kidding me. What? This tweet by Stephen King. Mr. Putin has made a serious miscalculation. He forgot he's no longer dealing with Trump.
He put it.
Oh man, this is crazy
Ukraine,
though.
which is
Oh, here we go.
emotive term.
Breaking news: U.S. president to announce.
That is to occupy Ukraine.
All right, let me put this. Hold
He
up.
has deployed the massive forces, upwards of
U.S. president to announce more measures against Russia. But I don't get this though. Biden went in office.
Ukraine. So
right?
Please do not give.
Biden went in office. He lifted the sanctions.
Philip Williams has a question.
Now that Russia's about to invade Ukraine, today he said that he reinstated the sanctions.
And the West,
what? It's a little too late for that kind of stuff.
We will not intervene militarily. Was there any other likely outcome as other than what's happened today?
Look, I think there wasn't. I think Putin has exploited that. Putin has understood.
I want to see what he pulls up.
NATO would be loath to get involved directly because of all the escalatory possibilities through to use of nuclear weapons.
Can you put the volume up?
Very interesting in his
Macho?
statement that Putin made a fairly explicit
Can't really hear
threat
right here.
to NATO that if they did choose to intervene, then Russia would respond with devastating force, including types of forces that they had not encountered before. I take that to mean.
Oh, your husband can deploy for this? Wow, that's
crazy.
crazy.
Nuclear weapons by Russia against NATO. So Putin is laying it all out here. He's making it very clear that he expects NATO
you know what's
to stand
difficult
back
about
and
this?
allow him to
What
occupy
is
and
U.S.
dismember
real involvement
Ukraine.
other than being
And
part
if
of?
they try to intervene, then
Who's for the U.S. involvement in this?
Malcolm Davis, could we talk for a moment more about Russia's current force
Because they're definitely all on this.
Of troops stationed near the border. What about Russia's military warships and their capability? Where are they right now?
Well, as we speak, Russian forces are moving into Odessa from the sea. You are seeing an amphibious operation.
Russian forces are moving
into Odessa on the south coast, and we've already seen artillery attacks on Mariupol in the south.
Artillery attacks.
You've got a very large Russian naval force in the Black Sea and also in the eastern Mediterranean Sea, in very close proximity.
Our prayers, Lindsey Graham update. Let's see what this man is saying. Our prayers are with Ukraine, imperative that we continue to provide Ukraine with defensive weapons as well as good
intelligence. It's been going on for a long time, and they're accustomed to some degree of tension with the Russians on the eastern border. But in Kyiv, the last time people had a major confrontation with anything that felt Russian was in 2014 when they ousted the pro-Russian government. And it did seem that people were trying to at least convince
I'm looking at different live stream, mainstream, all of it. I'm trying to. I'm on Twitter, live stream, mainstream.
For Kyiv in some fashion.
I believe a fourth of it. I believe nothing, almost nothing, but I want to see what they're saying.
They have been making preparations. They have been.
All right, I got a question right here. Who agrees with what Russia is doing? Who has a separate narrative and idea behind this?
Full-scale invasion
That's not
would not happen.
the mainstream narrative.
People here were taking those.
Putin and his cronies should be pursued by international law enforcement agencies for the purpose of seizing their lavish apartments, fine art, yachts, and other martial material goods purchased through stealing the Russian people blind. It's time to make this personal to Putin.
How to evacuate the wounded, how to
not our problem.
And speaking to
part of me believes that, not our problem.
For the worst, but you know what? We really don't think that they're going to go after the capital. But you know, better be safe than sorry. That was the attitude then, and they're facing a completely different reality right now, Ali.
World War III is trending.
All evening that you've not heard. It's morning for you.
I don't think this is World War III cause, but okay.
One would typically hear. Kyiv.
Yeah, it's a lot to it, Katie. I'm learning a lot as I go, to be honest.
Said the same thing.
This is just more going on this journey. World War III is
government provided any explanation as to why they're not activating
trending, which is crazy.
Things are exploding in
Biden a failure is trending.
We have yet to hear from city officials reacting to the events of this early morning. I was speaking to city officials prior to today, as
U.S.
early as
deploys
this
forces
week.
in
They were
response to
scrambling
Ukraine moves.
to
That
get the
was this
city ready
afternoon.
for a possible attack,
Russia launches
dusting
attacks
off
in
bomb
Ukrainian cities
shelters,
as Putin declares
creating
military
evacuation
operation.
plans, creating plans for
Let's see
contingency
how the
plans for
globe, man.
elementary schools,
It's going to be
critical
extremely biased,
infrastructure.
but
They were
okay.
trying to locate satellite phones. The city
I'm with you, Raven.
official
Outside
telling
of
me that
Western
they
media, you
needed
have any
500
place
satellite
I can be.
phones for critical
You look
infrastructure
at I can
sites.
be
They didn't have
redirected to
those yet. They couldn't get them in Ukraine. They were actually appealing to
Ukraine
the
on
U.S.
fire. I'm gonna
embassy
actually
for help
watch
with
that.
that,
So a
and
lot
they
of
were
people are
waiting for those
recommending
satellite phones. So there's just
Ukraine
sort of
on
basic
fire. That's on my
preparations
list.
that
Somebody
were
mentioned it on my
underway
live today
just as
earlier, so
early
I'm
as this
definitely
week,
gonna be
even though
watching
they've
that. The
known
Soviet Union
this
is
threat
pushing
was
to see how
looming
weak our
for
American
some
government is.
time. I had been told by a city official
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
had
and
tested
you got to think
the
about this,
siren
right?
system, although nobody could hear it. They said that they tested
You
it
you
to see
you
if
you
it
have
was
you have to
working.
think
They said
about
that
this,
it
right?
was. But again,
Ukraine on fire.
we
Yeah,
have
somebody told me you
confirmation
saw it,
from an
right?
advisor to the
And they
Minister of
recommended it through
Interior that
TikTok,
there
right?
have been
I think
missile
Macho
strikes
saw it too.
in Kyiv at
Um,
airfields and military
if
installations,
you get
and we have
drafted, do you
yet
still
to
get
hear
paid?
a single siren, Ali.
This is
That
an
was
important
me.
point that you just made. Courtney Kuby was talking to
Oh,
us
okay, okay. I was you.
earlier
You
about
mentioned
that.
it. You
That what the
mentioned it. Yeah, it
Russians
was
may
Raven.
do
He's
in
on
the
my live right
rest
now. Okay, cool, cool.
of Ukraine, beyond the eastern side, is attack those things that would cause the Ukrainians difficulty
Yeah.
in
So
defending themselves.
where
So
was I here?
airfields, military installations, and
Yeah,
certain
I want to watch that
government
documentary.
installations would more likely be the target than residential.
Oh, by the way,
or
we are
commercial enterprises.
live on our YouTube right now. We got 60, 50
That's
plus
right. And we
people
have
here
yet to see any
on our
reports of
TikTok
any
right now. But come join us on YouTube.
civilian
Drinks with nobody.
infrastructure
We
and
are
anything
live.
like that
So
having been hit
I'm
so far. But
getting more
again,
into
we
the
are
videos here,
continuing to hear
updates and stuff
explosions,
like that. I'm trying to get
really on
what
all sides
updates
of where I'm
outside of the
standing. I've
West
heard an
media can we
explosion
see?
in the distance
Macho,
to the
see
back, to
if
my
you can
left, to
see
my
any
right,
updates
this has been
from
going since the
Ukraine
early hours
themselves,
of the morning, and we are
or
waiting
maybe
for
even
even
Russia
more clarity from
themselves. You know,
authorities
because
here.
that would be
Staying on, your
interesting.
shot
Hey,
is
what's up?
staying
What's
up,
up?
so you let us know as soon as you have
We're
any
talking
more
about this
information, and we'll
whole
come right back to you. Stay safe, Aaron.
fiasco right now.
McLaughlin in Kyiv for us. I want to go to White House correspondent Mike Memoli in Washington.
Technically,
DC.
Russia has legal
Obviously, the
standing to
president,
get the land he
fully
wants,
informed about
but it
what's
is
going
not
on here. What's the
our
latest?
fight to be fought.
Yeah, Ali, we've been
this is where
getting
it gets,
periodic updates
according
from
to
White House
NATO,
officials throughout the
right,
night,
which
and my
Russia's
colleague
not
Peter
a
Alexander
part of,
just shares
or Ukraine.
a significant development. I think President Biden is actually on
Russia
the phone
will take
right
what they
now
want. Nobody will
with
do anything
Ukraine's
about it.
President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Would this have happened?
Obviously, an important
Would this have
consultation at this
happened
late hour
with
in
Trump?
Washington, but in the very early hours there.
That's really the question. Would this have happened with Trump? Right? Like think about it. Under Trump, what do we see here? Is it a different outcome? Did I got a question here? How about Iraq? What happened in Iraq, or Biden leaving the weapons behind? Did that play any role in emboldening someone like Putin to be like, all right, this is my time, right? So we got news out of Australia right here. Let's see what's up here. Let's see. Russia, Ukraine live updates. Let me see if I put this on this. For those saying no, why wouldn't it have happened under Trump? Good question. Why? Was there any talk? This is some of my thoughts here. There was no talks around it, right? I believe it was a different kind of posture, right? From the sanctions that Biden lifted as soon as he came in. Again, words say one thing, but your actions say another, right? So you come into office as Biden talking about how strict you're going to be and how you're not going to be taken advantage of. But then you do the opposite. You do kind of the complete opposite. All right. We got this Australian news source brought to us by yours truly, Macho. Drinks with a Nobody. If y'all see it up here, I am live right now. Macho behind the scenes, killing it right now. If y'all follow Macho, y'all know who he is. Macho Fix 88. Oh, we got some comments here. In apparent warning to the United States and NATO, Putin says in televised speech announcing war, a couple of words of those who would be tempted to intervene. Russia will respond immediately, and you will have consequences that you never had before in your history. Trump supports Putin's actions. Yeah, where do you see that Trump supports? Like, I saw the entire interview. I believe people are just saying, like, he was just saying this is very strategic, and he understands why it's happening. Would have never happened under him, according to what we see, right? But yeah, So now gas is about to be crazy expensive, right? Again, Patriot Pastor in the building. What up? What up? So you think a lot of this happened because of who's in office, if I understand you correctly, right? Oh, thanks for sharing that update. Wait, did I share that? You shared? All right, but anyways, nonetheless, it's great. All right, right here. Troops have landed in Ukraine. Foreign Minister condemns full series 320. 2:35. The world will hold Russia accountable. U.S. President Biden response to invasion. 2:35 p.m. I'm guessing that's their time, right? Because they are hours ahead. Then right here, I'm keeping up. Again, what I'm reading, I am live on YouTube.
Totally
Drinks
false,
with a nobody.
Unverified accusations against Ukrainian military that they are about to attack. And late into the evening, they appealed directly to Vladimir Putin for support, for protection. Again, entirely bogus claims. And that seems to be what Vladimir Putin answered. But I think if you listen to the frankly rather scary words of Vladimir Putin, I think that should give everybody pause for caution and pause for thought, because the suggestion there is that this won't be small, it won't be limited, it won't just be in a limited area, that the worst case scenario, which is what the Biden administration has been warning us will come to pass, may well now be unfolding. But we just have to wait a little longer and see what's really happening.
A lot more to monitor. Thank you, Ian, and stay safe. Let's bring in James Longman now from Moscow.
Back to this timeline.
James, can you walk us through that late-night announcement from Putin announcing that military operation that happened during the same time as UN diplomats were asking Putin
right? Invasion likely before night is over. Anthony Blinken.
Yeah, that's right, Andrew. The choreography of this was just extraordinary. You know, Putin really does know how to sell a message, and his message is that it doesn't believe in international cooperation.
Australia had to sanction Russia
at the moment of his announcement.
Other countries, full-scale military assault likely imminent. Like, I don't know what sanctions do at this point, right? What do sanctions do? Okay, I'm on to saying now. Okay, now I'm in my mojo now. Let's get to saying. All right. You got thoughts on this match? I know you're behind the scene. Feel free to type it in there. But, what's up? You on both? Are you wait using inked account? Is that Macho using that, or you're saying you're on both? All right, I'll confuse myself. Nonetheless, but what do sanctions do at this point of the game? Right, Sanctions are to prevent, to manipulate, but at this point, it's like, what are we doing here with sanctions? You can't say the day before trying to do something. You know what I'm saying? Like sanctions. Like sanctions supposed to be strategic to kind of bend people to think their way, bend their will, or kind of just talk about this negotiation process. What do you do the day before? Like somebody like pointed, you already made up your mind. Yo, Jay, I haven't been using Swiss cows, man, but I have it open tab, but I haven't been using it. 100+ people on TikTok. Really quick, if y'all on it, we are going over videos, breaking news, Macho behind the scene here. If you want to hop on the YouTube, come hop in the YouTube. I'm probably more apparent to this as we give updates. So, all right, back to this. Full-scale military assault likely imminent in Pentagon. COVID. So, all right, let's scroll down. Ukraine envoy, U.S. says Russia declared war. UN says, you see, like, who trusts the UN? Who trusts NATO? Right? At this point, we got to ask more questions. We got to ask a lot more questions, because this is crazy. Like, this is not, and again, like, I'm not with, Macho will tell you this. We're not trying to say that what Putin's doing is totally right and all that, but let's think about what's happening beyond what they're telling us. And like people are saying, you can't even see the perspective from our West Central media, right? It's just like we won't get the truth, What up? All right, live, raw, unfiltered. What's this? Is this Australian news, Macho? Another outlet here. I like this. We outside of the West News. We got some breaking live now. Is this Fox in America? Yeah, Fox New York. Thanks to nobody, YouTube. Thank y'all for hopping on the YouTube channel. I know we got a lot more people on TikTok as always, bro, but you know, we're trying to get that funnel into our YouTube channel, so feel free to join us here. We got a Trump is a Russian asset talking point in the building. My man Pablo at it again. Here we go. Here we go. What do we do with this talking point at this point of the game? Russia is a what? I don't know. What do we do at this end of the game? All right. Point announcing military operation being launched in Ukraine, local media. So, why didn't Russia do this before? All right. What's this right here? What we got here? Sumy region. Is this how it started? Hold up. Is this how it started? Oh snap! I think this is the beginning. Was this the beginning of all this? Wow. Sumy region. NBC News reporting troopers have landed Odessa, crossing the border, Karveward. So they're hitting them from multiple angles. So somebody earlier in my live said that, which had me thinking about this whole situation. In Crimea, however we say this, that's part of Ukraine. What I learned today is a lot of the people actually in Crimea wanted to be part of Russia, right? And again, to the extent that's true through polls and what we see, we had to further investigate. But at least that's a narrative most people don't hear, right? The YouTube is drinks to the nobody. Yeah, drinks to the nobody. I'm live right now, actually, on the YouTube as well. All right. The officials of Kiev replaced partnership with parasitic attitude, acting at times in an extremely brash manner. Suffice it to recall the continuous blackmail on energy transits and the fact that they literally stole gas. I will start with the fact that modern Ukraine, this is Putin, by the way. I will start with the fact that modern Ukraine was entirely created by Russia, or to be more precise, by Bolshevik Communist Party.
Days after getting their second COVID-19 vaccine.
I wonder what the hashtags. Can you see on Instagram the hashtags Russia, Ukraine are saying? Yeah, on YouTube. Yeah, why not? Oh my, I'm live. You could come talk about it. As the report this afternoon, Ukraine has closed airports in the city. All right, we got another link here. We have another link sent. Tony, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it, man. All right, Ukraine crisis live. Russia declares war on Ukraine. Putin clears military operation. So what is this? Now, we're just looking at news sources. Let me share this screen. My screen. Let me. Wait. I'm going to be sharing my screen here. Yeah.
Matt, what's going on?
Hey, Ali, we are hearing some shelling right now in the background. We're trying, it's actually behind the camera. We're trying to kind of figure out where it is.
I can hear it.
I'm not sure if you can hear it. It still sounds pretty distant, but it's ongoing. Again, though, Ali, this city, you just don't get the same impression as my colleague Eric McLaughlin was saying. You don't get the same impression that people are fleeing.
Biden can't handle it. Sanctions won't do anything. China has Russia's back because Taiwan is
circulating in the streets.
That's going to be the big move, man. And that's so much.
The distant sound of shelling. This place is a little different.
Ukraine
this
is toast. Sorry,
Ukraine.
Hunter.
People here are a little more ready for war. They're expecting this to happen. And they are Russian speakers. They may have the belief that Vladimir Putin's military won't come in here and attack
I got
civilians.
2 guest requests here, though. So.
They believe.
Let me. I'm probably gonna have a time span. Have somebody share for about 5 minutes since I'm live on my YouTube channel.
With Moscow. So a lot of people here
just came from TikTok. What up, Grant? What up, Grant? Thank you for joining us, man.
Never attacked Kyiv. A lot of people here have been living with
appreciate you if you're still in here. Jay, what up? What up?
And they've thought that this wasn't going to be targeted at civilians because Putin sees them as
America
Russians.
has a real geographical.
What's going on in the streets behind you? There's not as much traffic as I might have assumed for this hour of the morning. But what's happening there? Is the city waking up?
Let me get the co-star here, Macho. America has a geographic advantage. We never have to deal with invasion into our country because of where we are geographically placed. It's so hard to invade America. Like we're so far from the Middle East and all those places.
Just a regular bus, a city bus that's operating slowly.
All right, we out here.
Along in the morning.
We out here.
I guess
yo, so
to work.
Again, bro, this is man. Thanks for sending me those links, bro. Because these are different news outlets. I would be scrambling trying to get all this together. So appreciate it. Grant joined us. I appreciate it.
From Belgorod, and this is a
place
where
man.
we've already started to see
okay, hold up. I want to read this right here.
And a lot of troops mustering. Some of the big items like Sukhoi jets.
For sure, come join us.
Helicopters.
Link is in my bio. Background, you see it. Drinks of nobody.
These things.
Russian President Vladimir Putin announced today a military operation in Ukraine to defend separatists in the east of the country. Right. All right. So I love how they're wording this. It's different than the West media. So let's read through it. It's called the Donbas region, so that's in the east of the country. I have made the decision of a military operation, he said in a surprise statement on television shortly before 6 a.m. Weeks of intense diplomacy to avert war and imposition of Western sanctions on Russia failed to deter Mr. Putin, who had massed between 150, so he sent almost 200,000 troops. 200,000 troops along the borders of Ukraine. What I've learned is, by the way, today, is that Ukraine has already been, Russia is already in those areas of Ukraine in one fashion or another. That's interesting. I didn't know that. So that now adds to why are they, which is what Russia is saying. We got to stop categorizing. This is Russia's side here. I'm giving people Russia's side as a full invasion. If we've been there, what we're doing now, you ready for this? Is protecting the people in Ukraine. Because in Crimea, when Obama invaded, right? When Obama invaded, we have to realize that the people, according to polls, wanted it. Right? Oh, what's going on, brother? Oh, man. I wish I could have you on. I think you need to have 1,000 followers, it says, according to the TikTok. Well, let me see if I can
statement from President Putin
try to send you. Man, yeah. My wife was talking to you on Instagram, right? Yeah.
It was recorded, but then that raises the question, of course, how much earlier.
Yeah, there's no way to send a request, right, Macho?
Right now, here in
to somebody to come in the live if they don't have 1,000 followers, right?
Main television channels, they are replaying that statement from.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I forgot the following rule. Would love to have you in here to get a different perspective on this as well. Yeah.
That statement, I think worth.
What's up, Tony? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing. I saw 2 subscribers coming.
Tirade again, where President Putin once again talks about NATO, as you have mentioned, talks about the denazification of Ukraine.
So hold up. Thanks for sending me this, Macho. By the way, the NDTV, this is World News, NDTV. I'm not too familiar with that news outlet, but they got a different kind of outlet. I'm gonna keep reading here. Russia called on Ukrainian soldiers to lay down their arms and justified the invasion by claiming a genocide in Ukraine's east. So interesting. So Russia is invading because they're protecting, right? This is what's going on here. They're protecting the people from their government.
There's of course an element of psychological warfare.
So I'm right here. So that's which is crazy. Again, this is a twist that people don't want to talk about, right? U.S. President Biden immediately warned of consequences for Russia, blah, 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 and said that the world hold Russia accountable for his action. Yes, of course. He said Russia's move would cause catastrophic loss of life and human suffering. While NATO, here we go with NATO, right? NATO's chief condemned Russia's reckless, unprovoked attack on Ukraine. Yeah, Ukraine is denying Russia.
So take that.
What do you mean by that? Ukraine is denying Russia.
From your official,
my wife was talking to him, by the way. We got him on Instagram, so I was actually trying to get him on the live.
That's not surprising.
You see him right there.
President Putin
Mr. Martin,
makes all the decisions. In the end, he will have had advice.
Martin, or if I'm saying that. But yeah, to get a different kind of.
He is the decision maker, and another element of his televised.
Oh, Milkman, what's up, Milkman? We tackling this through different angles. I was probably reading for a few hours today.
And just seeing now.
Oh yeah, Marcos is here on the YouTube. Appreciate you. You came through. Okay, is there any way we can? Yeah, we haven't done it getting anyone through the YouTube as a guest. Would have loved to have him share some of what he got. Yeah.
Western leaders. So he says, even after the collapse of the USSR, the loss of a significant part of its nuclear potential, Russia is today one of the most powerful nuclear
Maybe we can work on that. What you think about that, Marcos? You down to come in for a bit? Chop it up with us. Talk about this a bit.
To the West, frankly, in this regard,
NATO hasn't done any good for anyone. NATO is a huge problem that we don't like to talk about.
Consequences.
Huge problem. NATO's a huge problem. Yo, Macho, you shared a bit about NATO. What's your thoughts on NATO?
We did hear from French diplomats raising real questions about President Putin's state, saying that the man that they met was different from the past. And that, again, a worrying aspect as Russians wake up to learn that their country, frankly, is at war with Ukraine.
Here, we're going to stay close to you. Thank you, Keir Simmons, for
babe, send him that link on Instagram.
It is midnight in the east.
I'll send you a link to the phone. Send him that link for me on Instagram so we can have him on really quick and try to talk about it from this angle.
We have attacks underway in
so hold up. Before we continue, NATO is a whole conversation here. But I also want to see here where we at.
This video being brought to us from the Associated Press. This is a
so explosions rang out.
Look at the cars on the right side.
Wow.
Into Kyiv, very few.
Wow, that's Ukraine traffic right here.
That are leaving Kyiv right now. Our reporter on the ground there, Aaron McLaughlin.
Yeah, they're probably trying to get out. This region is looking real empty here. Putin made a final decision to attack it. Yo, the man is decisive, bro. Like I never hear him say something that he's kind of halfway on. That's why people got to be very kind of like afraid or take him at his word sometimes, right? This is why he said nothing.
Vladimir Putin has
when Trump was president.
And tonight
not a word. Not a word about this
operation to protect those places. He says that he has requests from the leaders of those two republics.
Cool. So we sent him the link, Macho. I wonder how we're gonna get the request. I should get a notification here, right?
And that's why they have sent the activity that they've got going on underway. We have a few.
We
things
send
going
it to him to his Instagram. We got to get his email.
All civilian airspace in Ukraine is now closed. We have heard some reporting that the bombs that we're hearing.
Yeah, the guest list, the guest link.
Maybe
I sent
missiles.
it to him.
Someone
Instagram,
in the Ukrainian government had posted that to a social media site. We've not been able to confirm that. As Keir said, these are the moments in which we are in the fog of war. We're not entirely sure.
NATO chief condemned. So here we go. Let me go back to NATO really quick. Let me share the screen. Where's the screen at right here? Hold up.
The U.S. intelligence
the updates I got here that I'm reading off. NATO chief condemns Russia's reckless and unprovoked attack on Ukraine. The one I got down here. I'll switch it up. Yep. All right. I strongly condemn Russia's reckless, unprovoked attack on Ukraine, which puts at risk countless civilian lives. Once again, this
airport in Kyiv that is being shelled. I want to go to our two reporters in the region. Richard Engel is in Mariupol, Ukraine.
Oh, the news vid is still playing. It's hard to hear. Macho, let's put this down here. Thank you. Let me put this down. We're not playing it or talking about it. Appreciate it. Yep, perfect. All right, thanks for letting me know. 14,000 death civilians over the last 10 years, and now you want to complain? Fix it. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but all right, I'm here. UN is a farce. I agree. How is the UN involved in this, by the way? United Nations is a farce. Huh? Oh yeah, the UN. Oh yeah. I know. I'm not the UN connected to this. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I know the whole involved, but UN as a whole, the UN is just a face of world peace while they do nothing. No, they haven't done anything. The UN, as far as results, what has the UN done? Like, you know what I'm saying? Tangible results with all this money and all that. The USA is the UN. Yeah, you're probably saying that because the money we put in. Yeah, we put a lot of money into the UN. Crazy. Oh, I think we got Marcos in the building. Hold up, give me a second. So let me put this one. Yeah, let me put this one out. Let's have this convo. Let's talk about it. Let's put me and him up there, Macho. So, okay, appreciate it. Yo, what's going on, bro?
Wow, great to meet you guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Great to meet you. I know we spoke here and there on Instagram, so good to have you on, man.
Oh, pleasure. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are doing this and educating some folks, but you guys are missing a lot of it.
Yeah, I know we are. Come on, educate us. Let us know your angle and how you looking at this, man.
So this is my first question to you guys. I was posting some live remarks on Instagram where your wife, I guess, noticed and she called me in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 20 minutes through the 55 minutes of Putin's remarks. Has anyone watched it?
Yeah, I was watching. Is that you're not talking about the Security Council? Because I watched some of that. You're talking about his remarks. I was watching some of it, and you probably caught the first half. I'm catching probably what you haven't watched yet, so I caught it a little later in the video. Yeah,
he gave a historical detailing as to how the statehoods arose after the USSR was denounced and dissolved. So each one of those Soviet countries had certain loans that they owed and different forms of, like, how can we say, of funding, or not funding, but materials that they could associate to pay those resources, gold resources, oil, things like that.
Mhm.
So they all made a plan to have all of this paid by each one of the countries together as a sort of symbolic massive payment back to their debts. But Russia took it upon themselves, and in 2017 they paid it. So all of the countries, little by little, started paying them back to Russia directly. Guess what? One country that contractually agreed to all of this occurring and agreed to make their payments back decided not to pay back. Who was that? Ukraine. They owed him like 60 billion upwards. Now there's another angle.
Okay.
Putin continues to go on to explain historically, with fact and without doubt, that the underlying sense of independence and the sense of the way that things work on the backside of Ukraine arrives from a Stalin, Lenin type of leadership. And the mistakes that snowballed from those types of leaders and misdirections of the USSR's wishes pretty much ended up snowballing all the way up to Ukraine, saying that Ukraine in itself is establishing itself as a communist state or one of those socialist states that's fighting back against Russia and uniting more towards the UN. So that's what's interesting. So then he goes even further and says there was a far right movement in the Ukraine.
So Margot, really quick. So what time period are you highlighting here when this happened? And does this have anything to do with the IMF $700 million? You familiar with that as well?
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to see how that connects. If just make sure I'm keeping and the people are keeping up with you.
So that actually is way lower level to what's actually going on. So the money to the IMF is, if it is the IMF, I believe it is actually the IMF, and between the IMF and Libor. So a lot of those debts that Russia had internationally needed to be paid. Russia took it upon the Union to pay it, and all of the individual countries were going to pay Russia back. This is from 2015, or excuse me, I'll say 2013 up until 2017. where the payments were completed from 2017 on, Russia was seeking those payments from those countries and statehoods that belong to that contractual agreement. So, what I wanted to leave off on a point so where we can continue talking, that Putin was signifying that there was a far right movement that took over Ukraine and pushed it into a lot of just hate and neo-Nazism.
Okay.
Now, you guys were just talking about the UN. It's higher than the UN. This is deep state. Why? There's one person's name, and he's at
Soros?
the helm. Thank you. Soros funds NGOs using the United States money. In 2015 to 2017, the United States gave $415 billion to Ukraine in federal aid. All that money got put into
Wait, the
funding
UN or the United States?
the United States through NGOs directly to Soros through the Soros Foundation, with Open Society Foundation. They've funneled all that money out, and they created these two far left and far right ideologies, and they caused that color revolution in the Ukraine. They put literally, there are articles, documented articles, published articles that document how Obama and Soros and NGOs funded the creation of all of the calamity in Ukraine. So if we go one step higher, we see the arms of Soros and the arms of President Xi, and what they're trying to establish across with the One Belt, One Road trade market and trade line. That's where it is. This is all about the One Belt, One Road initiative, and this is all about Nordstrom 2.
So break down the One Belt, One Road for us. I've heard that term, but it's that you're talking about the ideology behind Jinping and Soros and people at hand with the globalist agenda.
Yes, 100%. So it's the building block that would transpire a lot more power and superpower terms in terms of like the levels to China, because the One Belt, One Road initiative seeks to make one complete trade route spanning across China all the way to the east. Or to the west.
Hold up, Marco. Really quick, just to remind people, we got over 200 people on TikTok, but I am talking with Marcos out here, and we are live on the podcast, Drinks with a Nobody. So if you see it in my background, hit the link in the bio. The moderators and Macho will put it every so often, but just so y'all can know, if y'all want to join on the chat here, I'll be more active here. Macho will probably be guiding you guys here on the TikTok as well, but just FYI. All right, go ahead, Marco.
Yeah, definitely want to go in the chat. I see a lot of good questions. So basically, the One Belt, One Road initiative seeks to make one trade route all the way from China to the west, spanning across to most parts of Afghanistan and going up into that Russian
area. A literal
area.
one trade route, or is that the term for?
It's about 3 roads, but they go right across, almost rail lines.
Okay, interesting. All right.
And this would make it a lot more easier for them, especially to move oil, because with Nordstrom 2, what Russia was going to do is circumnavigate the UK. If the UK and Russia can circumnavigate the gas pipeline, that means the UK doesn't have to seek oil from Saudi Arabia or America. And that pushes that power to Russia directly. The United States has to use our reserves because we can't sell anymore. Saudi Arabia plays with the prices. China has Russian more appeasement with Russia, and they get the money and they do trade with Russia. All the dependency on the United States of America goes down about 3 levels. That's what China wants. If China is already almost ahead of us in GDP.
Yeah, and that's aligned with their because I also want to hit on your thoughts right after you finish your thoughts here. I'm kind of curious if you have any connection of China and Taiwan and how like you believe that can move forward. If there's any connection you see in that happening there.
So that is an interesting part. I don't pride myself in being too much into the Taiwanese.
Okay, cool. Just curious, but let's keep going with the Russia though. I'm just curious to see if you had a connection.
No, I did see some. I'm not sure if they're real. I wasn't. I was looking up at the Putin information, and there was some news. Not sure if it's real, but that some Chinese ships were going in over that seaboard line towards Taiwanese islands. So that is interesting. It could happen, but we can talk about it later. but I am
Yeah, let's stay focused on this. I'm with you. If there's no connection, let's keep going with Russia. Yeah.
Here's where the signal is, and not the and where we have to get the noise away. The next thing that Putin says, besides the funding and the creation of these revolutions and these groups that are destabilizing Ukraine away from the Soviet purposes that it has, he mentions that Ukraine is basically corrupted. It wishes to continue to push towards these progressive ideologies and communist ideologies, but that they are undertaken by a parasite. And this parasite is led by blackmail and things that are instrumenting the Ukraine government to act in the way that they are and avoiding Russia and moving more towards NATO. Now, guys, what could that be? What $1 billion offer? What? Hey, once we win and we get re-election, we're gonna get a lot easier with you. Does anyone remember all of this?
Yeah, that's what Obama said.
We all and Biden paid for it, and the
And
blackmail's
yeah.
Hunter. Guys,
Mm-hmm.
this is the next piece in terms of what the world, I think, needs. Russia is going to push Ukraine for the money that they owe them, for them historically being a property of the Soviet Union, and also to expose the corruption and the obvious sense that George Soros has basically been using Ukraine as a pawn since 2013 with the Obama administration. Point blank. That's it. Now, on the upper realm, I think President Xi has low key been exposing the CCP. I think that Putin is exposing the UK and the greater areas in terms of the deep state relativity. I think Donald Trump is working with Putin and Xi to destroy the deep state.
With Xi too from China?
The relationship was too strong. For Xi to make those agreements and for Xi to take those sanctions with a smile, Trump must have put a stern word or must have cut a great deal. And I think there is enough wheels in motion. If you look at what Jack Ma and how he was knocking heads with Xi and how Xi is using a lot of the CCP power to go after financial crimes and trying to reestablish a lot of the justice system there. So it's interesting just because he's going after some bad guys too. I don't know if it sometimes, but that's all in all a different argument.
Okay. So right now, taking it back to this, right? You're connecting a lot of dots, right? What do you think is Russia's goal within this, right? You mentioned exposing the corruption, right? Does it have to do with just them, their ambition of expanding their territory, geographical advantage, wartime, stuff like that? Or are you kind of looking at it strictly through the lens of exposing Ukraine? Because some people would also say, but Russia is quite the dictatorship kind of ran country as well, just like you're accusing Ukraine. What do you say to people who will say that?
So in the past 3 years, Putin did something extraordinary, and that was a complete revision of his constitution. And a lot of the things that if you see Putin doing, unfortunately, if a lot of people don't want to hear it, but Putin is doing a lot of
his constitution. Interesting, Macho. If you can pull some of that up as well, I would love to see what it was. But keep going. I'm just that's very interesting.
It's very interesting because he started ruling in a much more of a, how can we say, Western format of how our republics were established. So he's doing a lot of based things, and I think with his power structure and the way that he got up to power, okay, some may believe it's in terms of a dictatorship, but it does allow him to take a lot more strength and approaches at how he runs policy in his country. Again, it's a difference in countries and historical
but did that
structures.
Change in the Constitution change? Are you saying his kind of governing policies or just
his governing policies reflected more onto the citizenship and the constituents? A lot more diversifying the government structures, like opening them up a little bit more It's very interesting. You just got it's a lot.
Yeah.
I think it was a good approach as to him de-leveling himself of power and actually giving some of his power back to the people. And also I think right now, what does Putin have to take from this? Yeah, he gets his money back. He gets more territory. He gets more leverage with the UK, who is pussyfooting around, and he'll have a little bit more leverage with the United States of America. Again, with Donald Trump being here, does Putin do this? I don't think Donald Trump lets him. But again, Donald Trump just spoke right now on what's her name? I forget her
Fox?
name. Sorry, on Fox with I forget her name. I'm so sorry.
Megan. Was it Megan?
I think so.
Megan Kelly.
But
I saw some headline there. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, he said, yeah, if this is as an American, he feels saddened, terrible. If this should have never happened, this, that, and the third. And again, I think it's just Putin making the moves. They called him out. He wasn't actually doing it. They called him out again. Am I still here?
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah, I thought my screen was frozen. I'm not sure.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he played the bluff twice on their false and fake information, and he said, okay, well, you guys are gonna fake it. You guys are gonna call off. Then we'll actually come. And as you see now, they're entering.
So going back to Ukraine being exposed, you believe that's a good thing, right?
100%. If you go all the way back to 2013, and you look at the prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, and you look at how the Obama administration, basically at the end of it, if you look at all the details, they tried to poison him 3 times, and he survived.
Yeah, I've read some of that years back.
He was the prosecutor that was going to expose the Obama and the Biden NGO energy corruption. They stole so much money. Think about it. The household of the Ukraine household, or the cost of energy for a Ukraine household was $200 to $300 in equivalence to the dollar. And it went up to $1,200 per household. And they stole all of that money.
So Marco, hold your thought really quick. We're gonna do a quick transition here. Macho's gonna do it. We're just gonna see something on the screen. On our YouTube channel, if you want to catch this interview, we are live now, but we'll post it up on our YouTube as well. So feel free to come over, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and yeah, just help us push the channel forward here. We got a lot of people, 300 plus actually on our TikTok. So yeah, we should also, that's a good idea, maybe answer some of the questions here. Anyone listening got some questions for Marco or myself? Let's see what we got here. Hold up. Marco, are you on the TikTok chat right now?
I can join.
No, you don't have to. I'm gonna read some of them. It's okay. I was just curious if you were saying it's all good. Yeah, I know I missed quite a few questions, but yeah, but if you have questions, it'll be much better for you to come over to the YouTube, post it on here, and any questions we get posted on the YouTube channel will definitely go by. I know we got a lot of people here, so just wanted to address the audience, all right? So yeah, so we're gonna get back into this. Let's play that quick intro, and Macho, do your thing right quick, man. We back. Thanks for your patience, Marco. Appreciate you, man. Oh, let me mod you. All right, let me mod you as well. No. All right, let me do this right quick. Admin setting.
Yeah. Please stop me if we need to get any deeper, but no, it's definitely a good conversation. There's just so much corruption involving the past administrations that are insane.
All right, my live access was removed. TikTok doing what they do. This is great.
They got us.
You know, as expected. I was on long enough, I felt, but
Oh yeah, I'm zapped on every app.
Yeah, this is crazy. So hold up. I have no idea why much. I was just putting someone, and let me see. I think I might have live. You're banned from going live due to multiple violations of community guidelines. Okay,
That's
not surprised. All right. Anyways, banned. Did I hit the wrong button? I don't think I hit the wrong button, but I don't know what happened. Yeah, I'm gonna appeal right away just in case. Sometimes they respond right away. But Marco, as I'm doing this really quick, yeah, take us where you want to take us on this story so you could keep going.
I mean, it's just so many angles.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it should. A lot of people. I think if you're very interested in this topic and what's going on with the Ukraine, you should look into the group that was formed to fight corruption in the Ukraine, led by Marie Yovanovitch, who was involved as well in the Trump impeachment and the phone call with Trump and President Zelensky. There's a lot of information to dig there. I believe it's called the NBCU. It was the anti-corruption, basically, team in the Ukraine doing a lot of work, but what they were actually doing was covering up. I would definitely employ a lot of people to go watch the Viktor Shokin interviews with Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani flew to the Ukraine because after the 3 times that they poisoned the man and he survived, he
has interviews with who?
Rudy Giuliani.
Okay, yeah. If you can find some of those so we can put on the chat so people can have it, Macho, just so we can have it. But yeah, keep going, man.
So there's definitely that piece of advice. That shows a lot. That shows basically everything you have to know. On Viktor Shokin's internal knowledge of all of the situation concerning Ukraine corruption and the Biden-Obama lineage there, as well as Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck has a show on The Blaze, which he does a lot of very internal detailing and linking of and like a map. And he has one on Ukraine and the corruption scandal, and then the energy abuse, which is also very resourceful, and it maps everything out because there's so many names, there's so many pictures of their face, and there's so much information. But all in all, the network that the Obama administration created to kind of take away power from Saudi Arabia, take away power from Russia, give more power to China, because China is the haven of the New World Order. Their social credit system, their communist format, their party ethics, it all aligns to the elite party. And it's concerning between the Vatican, between China, between the United States and the Pentagon, ran by those ulterior agents, the 3-letter agencies.
You know what it is too. China is definitely at the forefront of all that, right? It's no secret behind that, regardless what you want to call this, the New World Order, the whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, they're pushing this agenda forward, right? But another layer of this is Ukraine, right? And this is something for people to know, and you probably might know this, Marcos, but they are a big hub for child trafficking, right? For just human trafficking, right? So that the reason you have money laundering, human trafficking, is because it is that hub where people can, or politicians, elites, and people of power can stream kind of money to it, which is why you have the Hunter situation, you have the relations with different countries, or just the unknowns, right? Because right now, remember this, the president now, from what I'm learning, in essence, is placed there. Right? It's almost like he's not making any kind of decision. It seems like it's almost like playing this game where he's just being controlled to the narrative, because we have 4 years of Trump, right? And what's your thoughts on this possibly happening under Trump, or do you think it was impossible for it to happen under him? You alluded to a little earlier, I think.
I think in an eventuality with Trump, Ukraine would have ended up just giving itself after the civil war to Russia. Because a lot of people don't understand as well. I would like a lot of people
really?
to understand the areas where Ukraine is invading at this moment are areas of contention as to where those areas want to belong to Russia. So I think a lot of what Russia's doing right now, mostly, I'd still am leaning towards propaganda. I think what they're doing right now is just a special warfare drill. They're probably shooting at a mountainside and driving some tanks for a video. We see we see that with what happened with Soleimani. There was fake videos on CNN broadcasting that we were about to enter a war because of what we did to Soleimani and how they were promising death to America. This is all political theater until we really see things occurring. If we even go to the Syrian episode, that was the UN scripted event. So that false flag that Jake Sullivan was looking for, he got it. And people look into Jake Sullivan, everything that he's done for the Clinton administration or the Clinton campaign and the Obama administration, and the three-letter agency that he came up working for 14 years before he did any politics. It's all there. If you look at the spooks are doing everything. And it's hard to say sometimes because a lot of people find it as a conspiracy, but it's the truth. It's a documented truth if you really take your time to digest it.
Yeah, it's a lot of conversations where people don't want to have that's connected to the control beyond the country that's, being critiqued or criticized or scrutinized, right? Because we have this situation that goes well beyond, right? Because of NATO as well, right? Because NATO is a whole different discussion, right?
I'd actually would like you to pull up a video.
All right, talk to me. Let's see what we got here really quick, and we'll pull up your video. As the United States issued warnings last month about Russian troops in Ukraine's borders, President Biden threatened President Vladimir Putin with sanctions. Yeah, this is just the update. But yeah, what's the video you got for us?
Man.
Pray for Ukraine and its people. War is hell, and this is serious, not a joker game.
I just sent. This video is hilarious because, as well, Ned Price worked for a certain agency for 14 years, and he couldn't take the media questions too easily.
Okay, so this is right here. This video?
Yes. Hilarious. Grab your popcorn.
Quite a mouthful there. So you said actions such as these suggest otherwise. Suggest meaning they suggest they're not interested in talks and they're going to go ahead with some.
To engage in disinformation campaigns.
You made an allegation that they might do that. Have they actually done it?
What we know, Matt, is what I've just said, that they have engaged in this activity, in this planning activity. But let me because obviously this is not the first time we've made these reports public. You'll remember that just a few weeks ago.
I'm sorry, made what report public?
If you let me finish, I will tell you what report we made public. We told you a few weeks ago that we have information indicating Russia also has already prepositioned a group of operatives to conduct a false flag operation in eastern Ukraine. So that, Matt, to your question, is an action that Russia has already taken.
It's an action that you say that they have taken, but you have shown no evidence to confirm that. And I'm going to get to the next question here, which is, what is the evidence that they? I mean, this is like crisis actors, really. This is like Alex Jones territory you're getting into now. What evidence do you have to support the idea that there is some propaganda film in the making?
Now, this is derived from information known to the U.S. government, intelligence information that we have declassified. I think you know.
Okay, well, where is it? Where is this information?
It is intelligence information that we have declassified.
Well, where is it? Where's the declassified information?
I just delivered it.
What?
No, you made a series of allegations.
Would you like us to print out the topper? Because you will see a transcript of this briefing that you can print out for yourself.
That's not evidence, Ned. That's you saying it. That's not evidence. I'm sorry.
What would you like, Matt?
I would like to see some proof that you can show that
Matt, you have been.
So before we continue, so Marcus, what's happening here? He's pressing him on the issue of Russia invading Ukraine.
Correct. And let me put it in a little bit further context. This happened about a week ago, almost a full week ago. The next day, nothing really happened. The next morning, Putin pulls out 7,000 troops. At 5 p.m. that day, CNN announces, "Oh, Putin didn't pull troops out. He actually added 7,000 more."
Yeah. So they're kind of running with a narrative here that's not really cohesive with what's going on over there.
3 quiet days, and then this evening he invades, or he's just shooting at a mountain. Who knows?
Yeah. And before this transition, who's this that they're interviewing right now? They're asking questions of.
That is Ned Price.
Okay.
He is, I believe, working as a secretary of like he's a deputy secretary of defense, something like that. But he came up from the CIA 14 years.
Got you. Okay, interesting. All right, let's keep rolling this video. I'll stop it every few often so we can chop it up and talk about.
Shows that the Russians are doing this. Ned, I've been doing this for a long time.
I know, that was my point. You have been doing this for quite a while. You know that when we declassify intelligence information, we do so in a means. We do so with an eye to protecting sources and methods.
Is not going to fall. I remember a lot of things.
All right. Well, all right. So this is the thing here, right? I'm listening to this, but I'm like, what is he talking about? Who's talking about declass? That's what he's challenging there, right? Because he's not really talking about much then.
So no, we pretty much got the gist of the entire video. That's pretty much, he just goes back and forth. So this is just typical CIA action. This is exactly what happened with Russiagate. Oh, we have information that is substantial. Our source cannot be named, but we do feel that the information that we do have is sensitive. It's classified, but we do want to make sure that the United States acts upon it. How does that really equate to the tax dollar of the American and our concerns and our interest? And this is what diffuses the will of the American people and what actually happens in our country in terms of nationalism and what we stand for, what we do, and our cabinet of administration and their allegiance to intelligence agencies, what they trust, what interests they want to garnish, and what they want to hold. So in terms of Ukraine, so Ned Price is here saying he has classified information, but it's actually declassified. But this declassified information implies that Putin is about to go into Ukraine tomorrow. Not even tomorrow, maybe 5 minutes from now. We don't know, but that's what the information means. We don't know when, but it's going to happen. Okay, Ned, where's the information? It's declassified. Okay, what's the link?
So it's just really, I'm trying to see what you're inferring here, right? Is it something you believe they already knew? They kind of had already under works, under plans, was something already set up?
So let me put this back in picture. The Biden administration took the point to bluff Ukraine or bluff Russia. They were trying at the same time on the other end. They want Russia to kind of stand back and be afraid of the, how can we say, the views of the world, the opinions, public court, and the Biden administration finds it favorable to completely seal their mission for the one world order by making Ukraine, whatchamacallit, join NATO. So it's basically,
why has Ukraine never joined NATO? What's your thoughts on that?
Because they owed Russia too much money and they needed a lot more. The Trump administration basically, like that's what cut it off. Long story short, the Trump administration cut that off real quick. And the Trump administration was pushing for Shokin to actually complete his mission. And there was just a lot of convolution there. We couldn't finish it. But yeah, now we're back at square one. Biden's picking up where Obama left off, as we know who the real shadow president is. But yeah, they're just picking up where they left off. So now, like we were saying, it's basically a tug of war. NATO, Russia, NATO, Russia. So we have Jake Sullivan and the Biden administration. Russia's going to invade. NATO, join NATO, join NATO, join NATO. That's not happening. Russia, oh, we're showing signs of strength. We're going to invade. That puts more pressure on Biden and Ukraine to join NATO, but it's not going to happen. So now it's been like a push and pull. So what we see with Ned is basically saying we have information. I'm the one that's bringing the information, even if it's not made up. This could either be A, propaganda so that Russia sees it, or B, actual intel.
Interesting. Yeah, let's put some of this
on the Kremlin's
Let's put some of this live coverage really quick. See what they
I
cover.
think it was the Russian ambassador here the other day was saying pretty openly, sanctions don't work against us. We've got huge foreign currency reserves. We'll adapt to them. We'll adapt again. We're going to do what we need to do. And of course, there's this mentality within the Russian regime, particularly among the supporters of President Vladimir Putin, that the country deserves its own realm, its own sphere of influence, and it wants to carve that out as ruthlessly as possible, is what we're seeing at the moment.
Now, you've been one of the point people from our bureau trying to keep up to date with an often terse and pursed-lipped Russian ambassador. Have they had anything to say in the last day or so?
Not a lot. Obviously, the ambassador was called in yesterday for a dressing down. I think he even used the terms he'd been summoned, and it was a pretty short and frank conversation. We understand it. That's not a surprise. I think Russian ambassadors all around the world were called in, and as one former Russian intelligence, a person in the Australian government who would analyse Russian intelligence for a long time, said that the Russian ambassador here would see themselves as a very long way from the sun, because some in Russia refer to us as the upside down.
Yeah,
country.
I'm very curious.
We're on the other side of the world, so he wouldn't.
I'm very curious to how this plays out, man. In these next few days, one, there's a big distrust already in the media, and I think more people are waking up to the blatant lies. So I have a feeling here. This is some of my thoughts here, that some of these things that we're talking about that sound conspiratorial to some people are just a reality to more people, right? Once they start investigating. There's people who are still always going to follow what the media tells or whatever. It's certain people who just, they're never going to get out of that idea. But I'm kind of curious to how many people are actually going to be challenging what's actually happening, because they're already starting to call people who will have anything objective to say on why Russia and Ukraine are doing this. Putin sympathizers and communist dictators. And, they're kind of playing this game in the West already that's not allowing people to actually have an honest conversation around this.
No, it's definitely going to be up in the air.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, man.
I don't know. I feel comfortable. I feel like everything that is happening as planned.
Any kind of a response or defense, really, and especially any kind of a coordinated defense. So the ways you do that is you stop the Air Force from responding. Literally damaging, blowing up parts of the runway can cripple an Air Force, depending on what kind of assets they are. They'll also try to take out some of those air assets, most likely. Then also take out some of the air defenses. So when Russian aircraft are flying over, the Ukrainian military doesn't have the ability to take those aircraft out of the sky. In addition to that, one of the ways that you really isolate a military is you cut them off regionally. So you stop them from being able to communicate with one another, and then you also stop them from being able to physically reach one another. So that includes taking out some of their equipment, their ammunition depots, their vehicles, their command and control. One of the messages that we got from the Ukrainian government a couple of hours ago was that they were going after their control, the Russians were going after Ukrainian military control centers. That is what the U.S. military might call their command and control centers. So they're really trying to stop the Ukrainian military from mounting any kind of a coordinated defense in advance of the Russian military physically moving across those borders. Another thing that we've been expecting to see, and we're hearing from the Ukrainian government that is happening, is cruise missile strikes. So the Russian military already had dozens of missile assets all around that country. But the one that was particularly concerning to U.S. intelligence officials in recent days were those ships that the Russian military brought into the Black Sea and then into the Sea of Azov. They're landing ships, yes, they have the ability to bring mainly Russian Marines, but Russian military ashore there.
Any
but
evidence
they
of the
also
strikes?
have missile
All
capability.
right, let's pause that in the background. Machu put any evidence now. I don't think he will need to see if the rest of Putin's speech. Yeah. What's so? I guess I want to get to this, right? What's the involvement now, right? When we talk about NATO and the pressure in Europe and US, like what kind of actual involvement, in your opinion? What's worst case, best case scenario as far as this kind of involvement?
To quote President Obama in 2014, Russia has escalatory superiority, meaning in any form of matter when it comes to Ukraine, since Russia is a border country to Ukraine, they have every means to dominate it. So, NATO and Ukraine come together, okay, that means there's probably a 10-year war that's about to emerge. But that's what the deep state wants. They need to destabilize areas.
That's
so they
money, that's destabilization, that's control.
100%. This is the military-industrial complex back. Greasy wheels. Or somehow Putin just continues to play the fiddle. He poses if he poses, right, his strength and holds the line, I think that'll go way better for him and for the economy. And basically what he just has to do is put the light on Biden. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And if
you think that's a good thing if he does that?
Yeah.
How does that help America?
We have 9 months left. If we take back the Senate and the House, we will make sure things get done the right way.
Oh, you're saying this helps America because of the midterm elections?
100%, because Biden and if we go, the red wave starts now, and as soon as we get the red wave coming in, and the faster we get Biden and Kamala out, the faster all of these problems are resolved, and we go back to the peace that we had.
Interesting. I see what you're saying. So you're banking on which I already think without this, the performance of Biden was already in question by a lot of even moderate Democrats.
33%, and now we have an invasion, and he walks away from the podium again. Yeah, going well.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Let's see Putin here.
События на Украине. И то, почему это так важно для нас, для России. Конечно, мое обращение адресовано и нашим соотечественникам на Украине. Говорить придется обстоятельно и подробно. Вопрос очень серьезный. Ситуация на Донбассе вновь приобрела критический, острый характер. И сегодня обращаюсь к вам напрямую, чтобы не только дать оценку происходящему, но и проинформировать вас о принимаемых решениях, о возможных дальнейших шагах на этом направлении. Еще раз подчеркну, что Украина для нас это не просто соседняя страна. Это неотъемлемая часть нашей собственной истории, культуры, духовного пространства. Это наши товарищи, близкие, среди которых не только коллеги, друзья, бывшие сослуживцы, но и родственники. Люди, связанные с нами.
Yeah, this took place yesterday, did it not?
Yeah, I was thinking even today. The update,
It might have been this morning.
Yeah, it might have been today when it went on. But right now, this is good we're going this because this is the final thing I want to run through so we can kind of bring it full circle with the speech. I know you saw some of it. I saw most of it here. But yeah, that's his most recent. So that was literally hours back today. So he's describing, again, this is from Putin's mouth, right? I want people to think for themselves here to kind of critically think through the situation. Putin is now describing the people there as wanting to belong to Russia, right? As wanting to be part of, almost as critics will say, painting himself as the savior, and other people would say, not. It is that these people want to be a part of that, right? Yeah, so let's continue looking at that video as we continue talking about that.
Кровными семейными узами. Издавна жители юго-западных исторических древнерусских земель называли себя русскими и православными. Так было и до 17 века, когда часть этих территорий воссоединилась.
That's people calling themselves. You can stay right. You could play it right after this, Macho. But this is literally him saying the people identifying themselves. Right, this is an identity thing as Russians, which is an active result of the people saying, "Look, we want to be on this side, not with the Ukrainian government." Which means a lot of people. This kind of conversation me and you are having. A lot of people in those regions where Russia's coming in, quote unquote, invading, how they're saying in the West, are actually people who seem, according to what he's saying out of Putin's mouth, want to be part of Russia, want to be part of the whatever you want to call it he got going on, right? Whether it's a democracy or not, which is probably not a democracy like we think about it, but at the end of the day, they want to be part of it.
People don't want to pay astronomical numbers for energy when they can just depend off of Russia, their neighbor, on it.
Mm-hmm. Let's keep going here.
С российским государством и после. Нам кажется, что в принципе мы все об этом знаем, что речь идет об общеизвестных фактах. Вместе с тем, для понимания того, что же все-таки сегодня происходит, для объяснения мотивов действий России и тех целей, которые мы перед собой ставим, нужно хотя бы несколько слов сказать об истории вопроса. Итак, начну с того, что современная Украина целиком и полностью была создана Россией. Точнее, большевистской, коммунистической Россией. Этот процесс начался практически сразу после революции 1917 года. Причем Ленин и его соратники делали это весьма грубым по отношению к самой России способом. За счет отделения, отторжения от нее части ее собственных исторических территорий. У миллионов людей, которые там проживали, конечно, никто ни о чем не спрашивал. Затем, накануне и после Великой Отечественной войны уже Сталин присоединил к СССР и передал Украине некоторые земли, ранее принадлежавшие Польше, Румынии и Венгрии. При этом в качестве своего рода компенсации Сталин наделил Польшу частью исконных германских территорий. А в 1954 году Хрущев зачем-то отобрал у России Крым и тоже подарил его Украине.
He's going back to the invasion, giving you the history lesson behind the Bolshevik Communist Party, how that the people, the land itself, was already part of Russia. And then again, this is interesting to see. Let's see a bit. How long is this, Macho? Probably won't see the whole thing since we're wrapping up here, but probably see another few minutes. You keep playing it. Yeah, let's play another 5 minutes.
Собственно, так и сформировалась территория советской Украины. Но сейчас хотел бы обратить особое внимание на начальный период создания СССР. Считаю, что для нас это крайне важно. Пойти придется, что называется, издалека. Напомню, что после Октябрьского переворота 1917 года и последовавшей затем гражданской войны большевики приступили к строительству новой государственности. И между ними возникли довольно острые разногласия. Сталин, который в 1922 году совмещал посты генерального секретаря ЦК РКПБ и Народного комиссара по делам национальностей, предложил строить страну на принципах автономизации. То есть предоставляя республикам, будущим административно-территориальным единицам, широкие полномочия в изменении системообразующие документы в Конституцию страны не внес. Провозглашенные ленинские принципы построения СССР формально не пересматривал. Да, судя по всему, казалось, что в этом и не было необходимости. В условиях тоталитарного режима и так все работало, а внешне выглядело красиво, привлекательно и даже сверхдемократично. И все же жаль, очень жаль, что из базовых, формально-юридических основ, на которых была построена вся наша государственность, не были своевременно вычищены одиозные, утопичные, навеянные революцией, но абсолютно разрушительные для любой нормальной страны фантазии.
So that form of government that he's describing, Stalin, all that, he's now saying that that's what Ukrainian, through the infiltration of deep state and everything we're talking about, that's what they're doing now, which is a justification of why he's quote unquote saving the people. Wow.
See, that's the thing, Macho. I did, for the 30 minutes I've watched so far, I have not seen one threat. Just a history lesson and an understanding as to why he should do this. That's it. And I mean, that's the reasons why I started taking Donald Trump and his ideology and appreciating it, because he's saying things that people aren't afraid to say because it's the truth. And if you verify it's the truth, I have to give Putin his time on the mic, and what he's saying right now.
This is crazy. Macho, play that one more time. I just want to see where he goes here, and then.
Oh, it's funny.
О будущем, как это часто бывало у нас и раньше, никто не подумал. Лидеры Компартии были, похоже, уверены, что им удалось сформировать прочную систему управления, что за счет своей политики они окончательно решили и национальный вопрос. Но фальсификации, подмена понятий, манипуляция общественным сознанием и обман дорого обходятся. Бацилла националистических амбиций никуда не делась. А изначально заложенная мина, подрывающая государственный иммунитет против заразы национализма, только ждала своего часа. Такой миной, повторю, было право выхода из СССР. В середине 1980-х годов, на фоне нарастающих социально-экономических проблем, очевидного кризиса плановой экономики,
he's definitely pressing in a lot of the not only history, but how the history now is affecting Russia, and how it's almost like painting or giving a reality check behind who's really pulling the strings and why he's doing what he's doing. It's pretty bold of him to actually, follow through and still do this. It's like, when you think about it, wow. But Marcos, man, let me let you share some final thoughts here, man. I do appreciate you hopping on last minute. We were doing like a quick one, but talk to us really quick what you want to leave us with.
Yeah, I represent the New York Young Republicans and the Hispanic Caucus. So yeah, we're doing a lot of work. I recently ran for state assembly in New Jersey in the 33rd district. We had a good race. Raj Muharij, who's still holding the assembly position, is right now introducing a bill for 14-year-olds to be able to give their own consent to be vaccinated against parents' wills, which is a scary thing. So we still have a lot of work to do across the state of New Jersey to push for our values. But yeah, in terms of what's going on with Russia, I think Putin's doing what he needs to do. I think he's taking advantage of Biden's weaknesses, which are obviously the ineptitude of the administration. They have nothing right now, and they needed something to, shadow over their failure with the COVID pandemic. They failed with that. They're ending it. They need something else to go on to drive fear, and this is what they got. They asked for it, and they got it, and they can't control it. So again, this is a testament to the failures of the Biden administration, and may we all vote red in November and give way to the new death of the Democratic Party and the rise from the Phoenix to the grand old party, the Freedom Party. So yeah,
where can people find you, man?
I am on Instagram at it's Mr. MM Marte with 3 E's. I've been completely deplatformed and taken everything from me, but I've found ways to get back on. You can find me on Instagram at MRMMARTEEE, or you can visit me at njcapitalize.com.
njcapitalize.com. All right, cool. We'll put this in the bottom too, in our description section. Anybody tunes in, getting more momentum on our channel. We do. I just got banned from going live on TikTok now again. These things. It's a crazy world we live in. I feel the pain. I feel the the censorship going on. It is pretty wild. It's pretty it's pretty out there and clear, you know. So
I do want to leave everyone with, if you are supremely interested and you're still awake for the next hour, go watch the Glenn Beck Ukraine special, because it details all of the banking infrastructure, all of the energy dealing, and the dirty money that was moving from handler to handler. How the Obamas, how the Bidens were instruments to everything and all the movements, including how you mentioned the human trafficking. He goes in for an hour and a half, and you will be an expert. Obviously we don't have the time to speak into everything and every cranny and alley, but there is a week's worth of information for everyone to discover about Ukraine, and it's definitely worth paying attention to now.
Yeah, definitely. Again, man, thank you for hopping on last minute. We appreciate it, man. And hopefully we keep connecting. I know we've seen our content and kind of ran by each other's, content or just stuff we're talking about online. So I appreciate you joining, man. So thanks again, man. Drinks to the nobody. You already know. Thank you for tuning in.